Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because they agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. Welcome. I hope you guys had an awesome holiday. And it looks like 2023 is still giving. We're trying to get into 2024, but there has been so many stories, so many lawsuits that have been still taking place. And 2023 is not quite over. I want you guys to hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the platform if you have not done so already. I thank you in advance for all those that have already given a cash app. So Tyra T has given a cash app. If you could let me know who you are in the chat, that would be dope. Say it's me, or maybe if you want to be anonymous, I understand it as well. But I do thank you and I appreciate you. If you guys do give cash apps, again, it's not mandatory. Just make sure you hit that good like button. But if you guys do want to donate to the platform, because over here, what we do, if you don't know and you're new, we go over court documents. There are costs to the court documents or whatever. And a lot of the subscribers are the ones that kind of counter that price. But when you give your cash outs, make sure you put your YouTube name in there so that I could properly shout you out. Because I know some people like to do super chats because they want, their questions or whatever. But if you choose to do the cash app, then I want to make sure that I know who you are. Yeah, so again, I'm gonna do part of this in a podcast style, but I did want you guys to see my face. We have a lot going on. So Kevin Hart has sued Tasha K. I actually did not watch the video that she did. So, and I have not read the lawsuit. So we'll be reading that together for the first time. So my reactions are going to be the real reactions that I have in this lawsuit. For those of you, and I think it comes up in the lawsuit about another lawsuit Kevin Hart was involved in that I talked about on this platform, and we're going to get into that as well. But I knew something was brewing when I saw. You said, Pam, can you show us in the membership how to look up the California cases? They have too many courthouses. I was like, okay. It's kind of complicated, Tracy. So I'll definitely let you. I'll definitely let you know how to look up the cases if that's what you guys want to do. For those that want to look it up on their own. When I saw the video from Tasha K, and for those of you that don't know, Tasha K is a vlogger. She has over 1 million on her platform. She does a lot of interviews with various people that are connected to celebrities, along with celebrities. She was also sued by Cardi B, where she has a close to $4 million debt because of being sued by Cardi B for defamation. Again, even when I go over this lawsuit, it's just an allegation. We don't know Tasha K's side of the story. She's always welcome to let me know and DM me and let me know what her side is after we go over it. But I have not went over this lawsuit myself as of yet. And going over it with you guys will be the first time. Now, once I saw the video that Tasha K was going to do an interview with Kevin Hart's assistant, I think it was clear there was an NDA. This NDA is attached to this lawsuit as well. But I noticed that his wife had put up a post Kevin Hart's wife, put up a post in her stories. And I figured from there, I said, oh, Kevin must be about to sue. When the wife seemed like she was pissed off because Kevin has been in other scandals before, I figured it was about to be a lawsuit. So she put the level of IDGAF I reached this year is crazy. And this is what was posted after that video was dropped. So what we're going to go over right now is the lawsuit that was filed. Let me see, put myself down here. Yes, please make sure you guys hit that like button. That would be absolutely great. We are growing over here, and the way we grow is if you guys hit the like button and you subscribe to the channel. So this is the lawsuit that was filed. It's Kevin Hart. He's let me put myself down here. Okay. Kevin Hart as an individual and K Hart Enterprises Inc. So he and his company are suing Maisha Shakes as an individual, that was his assistant, former assistant, and Latasha Transrena Kibi, also Kibi Studios LLC, a Georgia limited liability, and those 1 through 20 inclusive. From my understanding, Kibi Studios no longer exists. There is a whole nother name, it slips me right now, of what the production company is, but that's neither here or there. The complaint is for civil extortion, breach of contract, intentional interference with contractual relations, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts, and defamation. So they have a slew of claims that they are waging against Tasha K. All right. Now, somebody are saying different comments of what Tasha K did or did not do. That is fine. Tasha K, I'm sure, will have her day where she will respond to this. I have not read this already, so I don't even know what the allegations are. So if you guys are just, some people are jumping ahead with what ain't true and what's not true, I don't even know what the allegations are. But again, this is a civil lawsuit. So that means that they are allegations as of now. That's all they are, allegations. Anybody can file a lawsuit. Somebody said you know what? Somebody said, is the audio breaking up for anybody? Is the audio okay for you guys before I get the reading my heart out? Please let me know. Please let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Unbothered said the extortion is what has me skeptical of the whole thing. Okay, Pray Then Hustle said the audio is okay. I'm gonna take your word for it. Please let me know, because I know sometimes it's the individual's audio, but I do want to make sure. All right, thank you, really B. I appreciate that. So here we have the parties. Hart is a comedian, an actor who also is the chief executive officer of KHE and is authorized to act on the company's behalf. KHE is a California corporation engaged in various aspects of the entertainment industry and related business endeavors. Plaintiffs are informed and believe, and based thereon allege, that at all times mentioned herein, defendant Maisha Shakes was and is an individual residing and doing business in Los Angeles County, California, beginning in or around August 8, 2017, and continuing through October 22nd, 2020. So Shakes was employed with Heartbeat Production, a KHE predecessor entity, in various capacities, most recently as Hart's personal assistant. So, according to this, from 2017 to 2020, Maisha Shakes, who did an interview with Tasha K, was an assistant to Kevin Hart at Heartbeat Production. Plaintiffs are informed and believe, and based thereon allege, that at all times mentioned herein, defendant Latasha Transrena Kibi, hereinafter Kibi, was and is an individual residing in the states of Georgia and Florida who regularly transacts business in the state of California and county of Los Angeles, including in connection with the matters of issue here. And they have to allege that because the court has to have jurisdiction over them. So this is how they're getting jurisdiction, by saying that she transacts business in the state of California in order to grab the jurisdiction in California. It looks like Shakes resides, or at one point, obviously employed when all of this transpired, I guess, at Kevin Hart Studios, which is in Los Angeles. And of course, Kevin Hart resides in Los Angeles. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon alleged that at all times mentioned herein, defendant KB Studios was and is a Georgia limited liability company which regularly transacts business in the state of California and county of Los Angeles, including in connection with the matters at issue herein. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that KB is the principal of KB Studios and that KB Studios is responsible for content KB publishes. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon alleged that KB through KB Studios operates a website, TashaKLive.com, and is active on various social media platforms, including but not limited to Instagram and YouTube, wherein KB specializes in posting salacious and unverified news. They got IE gossip about celebrities. Y'all make sure you hit that like. We got a lot of reading to do here. KB has an established history. Oh Lord, we're getting into okay. Let's get into it. KB has an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities. For instance, most recently, she was found liable for damages exceeding $3 million in a defamation lawsuit by musician Cardi B, and they put the case number. Plaintiffs are aware of the true names or capacities. Plaintiffs are unaware of the true names or capacities of the defendants sued herein under the fictitious name Does 1 through 20, inclusive, and sues said fictitiously named defendants in accordance with California law. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based thereon alleged that at all times here too mentioned Does 1 through 20 are and were individuals, corporations, associations, or otherwise. Plaintiffs will amend this complaint to allege their true names and capacities when they become known to plaintiff. Shakes, KB Studios, and Does 1 through 20 hereinafter referred to collectively as defendants. So basically, they believe there are other people that also should be a part of this lawsuit. However, because they don't know who those people are, they named them Does 1 through 20. If they get into litigation or by whatever means they find the identity of other individuals that belong in this lawsuit, Kevin Hart's attorney will change those Does into Sam Smith, Joe Williams, Susan Harris, whoever the names that belongs in those spots. So they're just preserving that right now. Jurisdiction and venue. Jurisdiction and venue are proper in Los Angeles Superior Court because the defendants reside in, can be found in, and/or transact business in Los Angeles County. Remember, I told you when they were very specific in the parties portion on how they're connected to California. That was the reason, because the court has to have jurisdiction and make sure that this court is the proper venue. This was filed in Los Angeles Superior Court. So you have to show where there is, that court has jurisdiction over everyone. And as it pertains to Tasha K or Latasha Kibi, it's because she transacts business. She's on the internet. There are a lot of cases on basically your content being all over the country. So somehow, you make money in various states, even though you may not physically be within those states. So that's what they're saying, is that they transact business in Los Angeles County. The defendants' wrongfully acts were committed in Los Angeles, and the amount in controversy exceeds $25,000. So aside from jurisdiction, when you're in court, you have to do a jurisdictional amount. To be in Los Angeles Superior Court, I am going to presume that it has to be what you're claiming as damages is more than $25,000. If it was less than $25,000, they would have a lower court that they would do this in. And some people also have like a small claims, but typically in small claims, you don't even have attorneys. So let's get into the facts common to all the causes and the actions. So these are the facts that they are alleging. Again, right now, these are just allegations. Anybody can file a lawsuit. So let's get it. During the course of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat, Shake served as Hart's personal assistant. In said capacity, Shakes was privy to certain confidential business and personal information regarding Hart, his family, friends, and associates, various Heartbeat personnel, and employees at other Hart affiliated companies. As a result, Shakes appeared to be in a position to disseminate or confirm allegations about those persons and entities, regardless of their truth or falsity. Upon Shakes entering her employment relationship with Heartbeat, Shakes and Heartbeat entered into a certain confidentiality agreement dated August 8th, 2017. A true and correct copy of the agreement is attached here too, and there is a confidentiality agreement that is attached to this complaint. The confidentiality agreement defined confidential information to include the following: matters concerning the business operation, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, and business relationships of any of the protected parties, with protected parties defined to include Heartbeat's owner, its officers, directors, shareholders, clients, families, friends, associates, and contractors, including but not limited to affiliated entities of owners. The confidentiality agreement further provided that Shakes expressly agrees that recipients shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise, publish, disseminate, disclose, or cause to be published, disseminated, or disclose, herein disclosures, any confidential information to any person, firm, or entity whatsoever. On or around October 22nd, 2020, Shakes, on the one hand, and Hart, on behalf of himself, Heartbeat, and all other Hart affiliated companies, on the other hand, entered into that certain mutual release and non disclosure agreement dated October 22nd, 2020. That's an NDA. A true and correct copy of the NDA is attached as Exhibit B. The NDA called for Hart to pay Shakes $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, along with other considerations. So when they severed their relationship, it looks like there was a severance agreement, which also had an NDA. So he was paying her $30K per year for 3 years. And then these that I'm about to read right now were the considerations also attached. The NDA defines as confidential information the following. So that release, which is attached, also had an NDA when she separated from Kevin Hart and Heartbeat Production. Private and confidential information which is not generally known to the public or readily ascertainable by proper means by others is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain its secrecy pertaining to any of the following: quote, protected parties, Kevin Hart, his affiliated companies. It got example: K Hart Enterprise Inc., KG Production LLC, KG Digital LLC, including their officers, directors, and executives, and Kevin Hart's family members, past, present, and future, and their affiliated entities, including their officers, directors, and executives. The NDA further provides that Shakes shall not directly or indirectly disclose, exploit, or disseminate confidential information to any person or entity whatsoever, including but not limited to friends, family members, journalists, tabloids, television or radio programs, websites, or internet social medias, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, etc., all collectively third parties, or threaten to do so. So right now they're going over what this NDA said when the departure happened. Somebody said, who violated the NDA? Y'all give me a chance to read the document. I told you I'm reading it with you guys. Okay. Shakes therefore had the duty to preserve the confidential information, both as defined in the confidentiality agreement and the NDA as confidential. The NDA included an attorney's fee clause providing as follows, quote, in any proceeding arising out of, related to this agreement or its enforcement, the prevailing party shall be entitled to recover all of his or her its reasonable attorney fees and costs and expenses incurred. So basically, if you violate this and I win, you got to pay my attorney fees. That's part of what that agreement was. In or around November 2023, Kiwi conducted and recorded an interview. This is, we get into the facts now. The interview with Shakes, wherein Shakes made various statements regarding Hart, his family, and Heartbeat personnel and or employees of other Hart affiliated entities. Notwithstanding the truth or falsity of any such statements, Shakes would only have had knowledge regarding such subjects as a result of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat. Such information necessarily would have constituted confidential information defined by the NDA, such as information regarding alleged personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart affiliated companies and subjects such as Hart's interactions with his family members. The interview also included false and defamatory statements regarding Hart and certain legal disputes in which he had been involved. During the interview, Kibi asked Shakes whether she was subject to any non-disclosure agreements which would have prohibited her from disclosing the type of information that was the subject of the interview. Shakes acknowledged that she and plaintiff were, in fact, parties to the NDA, but claimed that the agreement had unspecified loopholes that she apparently contended would enable her to escape the consequences of her brazenly violating her promises to plaintiffs and the NDA and confidentiality agreement terms. In or around November 2023, an unidentified individual telephones a Hart representative stating that the individual was affiliated with Kibi, that Kibi had conducted the interview with Shakes, and that the interview included information or allegations that the Kibi representative claimed would be damaging to Hart's reputation. The individual stated that Kibi would publish the interview unless Hart paid a ransom of $250,000. So for those that's asking about the extortion and where it came in at, this is what he is alleging the extortion is. Okay, it's over 1,000 of you guys in here. Make sure you hit that like button, please, and thank you. On or around November 17, 2023, Kibi posted a teaser for the interview on YouTube, and then it has the hyperlink, wherein she, along with Shakes, touted the supposedly salacious and damaging nature of the interview. The teaser video clearly was intended as a threat to Hart that the more detailed interview will be published if the ransom was not paid. The teaser included a statement from Kibi at the 2-minute and 6-second mark of the video, specifically warning that, quote, when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary, end quote. What? What? I saw that teaser and I don't recall that, but maybe I wasn't paying too much attention or whatever. But so what they're alleging right now is that someone from Kibi Studios, a representative, called and said, hey, listen, I got all this good information from your former assistant. And if you don't do what we asked you to do, i.e. give me $250,000, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to air it. Apparently, I'm assuming that they told him to kick rocks. Again, this is all allegedly, and this is just my rendition, to kick rocks. And so a teaser came out. So they're alleging the teaser was somewhat of a, you better do what I say, or this may be the consequence of you doing, this is the consequence of you not doing what I asked as far as the 250. This is what they alleging. This ain't what Pam alleging. I'm just trying to break it down in layman's terms. On or around November 22nd, 2023, Hart's attorney, Dante Mills, wrote to Kibi demanding that she cease and desist all of her legally impermissible action towards Hart and that she refrain from publishing the interview. A true and correct copy of the cease and desist is attached as Exhibit C. In this cease and desist communication, Mr. Mills specifically advised Kibi that Hart had contacted law enforcement about her threats. So they have filed, allegedly, they contacted and filed a report to the police department regarding the threats. Is what they're alleging. The cease and desist letter also advised Kibi that Hart and Shakes were parties to the NDA, that Shakes' participation in the interview was a violation of the NDA, and that Kibi's publication of the interview would constitute intentional interference with the contractual relation, in addition to the various other criminal and torturous conduct that Kibi had engaged in up to the point. On December 22nd, 2022, Kibi advised Hart representative that she would in fact be publishing the interview. That evening at approximately 6 p.m., Kibi published the interview on her website, Tasha K Live, specifically at the link, and they got the link down here. Charge and view is $12 per month subscription fee in order to access and view the interview. Those, everyone, are the facts of the case. After you get done with the facts of the case, then we go into all of the various causes of actions or the claims on who Kevin Hart is waging these claims against each individual, or maybe they're for all the defendants. And so then you'll see. Also attached, as they said, there also is the NDA that is attached, and also that release agreement, and the cease and desist is also attached as well. So let's get into it. Let me see if it's any questions thus far. It's 11:22. If you guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Fine name. Josh said 250K only. Now Tasha is way smarter than that. She can make that off one video or maybe a few. To extort 250 is a waste of time. Courtney says, sounds like Kevin's upset about the airing of the interview. Isn't an NDA void for crimes, though? Boss sleeping with the females in office could be viewed as harassment. Kevin should be suing the chick who allegedly violated the NDA. Well, she's actually in the lawsuit as well. So Kevin is suing the chick that allegedly violated. But if you listen to, we're going to go over the count so you can see what specifically he's saying that Tasha and Kibi Studios is responsible for. That's why we're going to go over the causes of action. For those of you that are not aware, there was another lawsuit that was also filed, and Kevin Hart was sued by a young lady. You guys remember there was a fair scandal that occurred, and during that scandal, it was alleged that this woman was recorded. She didn't know she was being recorded. Kevin Hart said he was being extorted by his homeboy, even though the guy got found. I think it was JT something. What is his name? JT Jackson. And he was found not guilty, I believe, on the criminal aspect, because Kevin Hart too was saying that JT Jackson was trying to extort him. He was found not guilty. And what Kevin was alleging in that against him was that JT allegedly had this video, and he was saying, if you don't give me whatever, then I'm going to air this video out, and of him having an affair on his wife. Now, the lady Monta Savage, I think is her name, she filed a lawsuit against Kevin Hart, JT Jackson, Famous Entertainment LLC. She filed a lawsuit against all of them. JT Jackson ended up being dismissed. And let me see what those claims were. She did claims of negligent supervision, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, intrusion upon seclusion, violation of California right to privacy. So she was saying she was being recorded and she didn't know she was being recorded. And so she sued Kevin for that. Now, Kevin again blamed JT Jackson that he had gotten some type, I guess he got this video and he was allegedly extorting him. But again, I believe JT Jackson was like vindicated of all those charges. Now, on this civil lawsuit from Montia Savage, the interesting part is pretty much everyone got out of that lawsuit on a motion to dismiss the claims but Kevin Hart. So Kevin Hart was still in that lawsuit all up until like July 2023. And on the day of trial, the plaintiff did not show up, nor did her attorney. So that case ended up being dismissed. But they all were trying to get the case dismissed all through the year when it was filed. Everyone pretty much, from my understanding, was dismissed. But I know Kevin Hart definitely was not. And they were supposed to go to trial, and it was supposed to be this past summer. But then on the day of trial, she never showed up. She never showed up for the trial. Dion is saying they settled. That's not the lawsuit that I have. It says basically trial was set, and maybe they did on the day on the doorsteps, but it had on there the plaintiff did not show up, and because the plaintiff didn't show up, the case got dismissed. So maybe it was something that happened on the side. All I can do is go on what the docket was when it came to that case. KK said the assistant said that her and Kevin Hart set up the cameras. Oh my. Well, there was definitely a lawsuit against all of them. Let me see. Hold on. For those that's not familiar with it. So this was the lawsuit. We're just taking a little detour real quick before we get into the rest of the Tasha K complaint. And this may be something she won't look into too. But she was basically alleging, she said, this is a suit based upon negligence and invasion of privacy. The plaintiff has specifically alleged counts of negligence. I named all those, so I'm not going to do it again. The defendants have engaged in outrageous, irresponsible, and despicable conduct that should be punished to the maximum extent under the law. Defendant Hart negligently or intentionally authorized, allowed, and or otherwise permitted Jackson and or those 1 through 5 who were agents, employees, and or servants of defendant Hart access to his hotel room suite at the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas and breached his duty of care to Miss Savage or Savage. I'm probably jacking her name up, but you guys get what I'm saying. Defendant Jackson and or Doe's 1 through 5 caused Miss S to be secretly videotaped in or about 2017 without her knowledge or consent while she was engaged in private consensual relations with Hart in Hart's private bedroom suite at the Cosmopolitan. On or about September 17th, the famous defendants posted to the internet an approximately 2-minute and 48-second highlight reel of the secretly taped video footage depicting Miss S naked from the waist down and engaged in private consensual relations with Hart in his private bedroom suite at the Cosmopolitan. The famous defendants posted the video on the website and on their Twitter account. The defendants posted a video for the public to view for the purpose of obtaining tremendous financial benefit for themselves, including without limitation the sale of advertisement at the site, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Ms. Savage had no knowledge that the intimate activity depicted in the video was being recorded. To the contrary, Ms. Savage believed that such activity was completely private, and she had a reasonable expectation of her privacy in Hart's private bedroom suite at the Cosmopolitan, and she reasonably believed that her privacy was safe and protected at all relevant times. Hart's negligent or intentional acts or omission, Jackson and Doe's 1 through 5 secrets recording of Miss S naked and engaged in private consensual activity, and the famous defendants posting the video on the internet constitutes a shameful and outrageous invasion of her rights of privacy by a group of loathsome, yes, they said loathsome, defendants who have no regard for human dignity and who care only about maximizing their revenues and profits at the expense of all others. This lawsuit was necessitated by the defendant's blatant violation of Miss S's rights of privacy and other rights as discussed herein. Hart violated Miss S's rights by negligently or intentionally authorizing, allowing, and or otherwise permitting Jackson and or those 1 through 5 access to his hotel room at the Cosmopolitan, and Hart breached his duty of care to Miss Savage. Jackson and or those 1 through 5 violated Miss Savage's rights by participating in the secret recording of Miss Savage naked and engaged in private sexual activity in a private bedroom. The defendants violated her rights by their wrongful disclosures of the private acts depicted in the video and their unauthorized commercial exploitations of plaintiff's name, image, and identity. The defendant's malicious and or negligent conduct violates plaintiff's constitutional and common law privacy rights and publicity rights and exceeds all bounds of human decency. Y'all get y'all picking up what I'm putting down. So basically, there was a lawsuit that was filed where when that whole scandal came out, this young lady sued them and said she didn't know she was being recorded, and she was alleging in the lawsuit that Kevin Hart knew it was being recorded, or perhaps he ordered somebody for it to be recorded because it was his personal room. You allowed it to happen. Kevin actually pointed to the JT Jackson and made it as if he was being extorted in that situation. I'm just bringing up historical patterns. That's it. Take with it what you will. But looking at the procedure of the case, as I said before, JT Jackson was dismissed out of this case on a motion to dismiss. So he didn't even get to the trial portion. Kevin Hart's claims, some of them were dismissed against him, but he did have a few that stuck. And because those stuck, he was headed to trial. If you look on the docket, it basically tells you that on the day of trial, nobody showed up for that trial. Now, someone is saying that perhaps they settled. I'm not saying they did not settle. I'm not arguing that fact, but what I will show you is the documents that I have and what this document says. And I'm going to show you that right now since somebody brought that up. Let's see. This is June 22nd of 2023. It has for plaintiffs, no appearance. For defendants, Stacey Knox showed up. Matter is called for hearing. Final status conference, jury trial. There is no appearance by or for plaintiff. At 9:41 a.m., plaintiff having failed to appear at trial. The court pursuant to an oral request made by defendant. So Kevin Hart showed up. The plaintiff did not. The amended complaint filed by Montia Savage on August 2nd, 2021 is dismissed without prejudice. The dismissal is pursuant to CCP 581 sub B sub 5. So all I can tell you guys is I get it. You guys are saying she settled. I see your comments. Based on this document, they did not show up. And so on TV said, yep, that's different from they settled. That's all. I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying they if they settled, then they did that in a whole different way of settlement. Because when you settle, what you do is nobody shows up to the court and you call the court, hey, judge, we want to let the judge know that we want to have a quick conference because we settled this lawsuit. So none of us are showing up. So we will have a dismissal. And the judge will say, well, let me know how long you need to get a dismissal in. Oh, judge, I can get that in within a week. And then you file a dismissal with prejudice, and that's that. This case was dismissed without prejudice. That means she can, in theory, bring it back if she wants to. That lets you know this case was not settled, just by deduction of how the law and the legal system works. Because without prejudice, if I give you money and we settle, you're going to dismiss this case with prejudice. Because why would I give you money and you could just bring it back whenever you want to and make the same claims and allegations? And then I got to spend more money to defend myself. Okay. Somebody said PR stunt. Okay. I'm just trying to help you. Said Pam always got the receipts. Let's get back to the issue at hand. I was just looking at the chat and I just noticed what you said, and I just wanted to let you know I don't believe that was true. So let's get to the claims now. The first cause of action is civil extortion against all defendants. So that's every last one of them, including Tasha K, Kiwi Studios, Shakes, and Jane Doe's, and all of them. So California courts recognize a private right of action for civil extortion under California Penal Code sections 518 and 19. Then it gives different case law for that. The act of contacting the individual and threatening to make public statements about them in order to induce payment of money and extortion pursuant to California Penal Code section 518 and 519. The statements by Kiwi's representative, and I'm assuming that may be why they said a John Doe or Jane Doe, because they probably don't know who the person is that allegedly contacted them. But again, I'm looking at patterns. And when you look at the previous lawsuit that was filed, he also alleged, Kevin Hart alleged that it was an extortion plot. And he said the same thing about JT Jackson, who he was dismissed out of the civil case, and criminally he was never convicted of it. I don't know if he went to trial. I can't recall. Somebody can look that up. I don't know if he went to trial and that was the outcome, but from my recollection, he was somehow exonerated from that allegation. The statement by Kiwi representative that the interview would be published if Hart did not pay constitutes extortion as defined in California Penal Code section 518 and 519. As the direct and proximate result of the acts described above, plaintiffs have been damaged in an amount to be proven at trial. Defendants' extortion threats were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intention of depriving plaintiff Hart of his personal liberty, property, or legal rights, otherwise causing injury, and such actions were despicable conduct that subjected plaintiff to unjust hardship, is conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights. Such the plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive exemplary damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which plaintiffs are entitled in order to set an example and deter such conduct. Again, this is just Pam talking. I'm looking at something totally different when it comes to this extortion charge. I'm not sure about that unless he got some recordings or he has something to prove it. Because I'm familiar with this previous case that I just read, I'm not sure about this extortion portion of it. I'm a little skeptical, but Kevin, you can sway me. You can sway me with the evidence that you have. However, when I look at the prior case, those were the same type allegations that were set forth. And I'm telling you, stuff like this, that'll make you go ahead and stuff going on with you at home. I'm sure it caused contention at your house. That is the post that was filed. That was on the story of Kevin Hart's wife. That was in the story. And I hit that screenshot. I was like, what does that mean exactly? You said, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. Said, y'all remember how cocky the new wife was when the first wife said age was the side chick? She said, I don't know why she's mad at me. He has several other women. Oh my. Somebody said, so Kevin extorting himself again. I don't know. I'm just giving you guys what I got. And I don't automatically, some people don't like Tasha K, and they want to automatically go against Tasha K. I'm going to always be unbiased. I ain't her favorite person. She made that quite clear. And that's fine. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm going to try my best to be fair in a situation. I'm just saying, when I looked at that other lawsuit, it sounds kind of similar to what Kevin was saying, that he was being extorted by his homeboy. So I'm like, is this, yeah. Let me see. Pam, can you speak about blogger integrity? For example, I don't think TMZ would ever message someone and say, hey, if you pay me, I won't run your story. Seems like they run everybody's story. I don't know. It's crazy that not crazy, but so you have journalistic journalistic integrity, but then for blogging and vlogging, it's just a little bit different. I don't want to explain it. So for me, I want to hear both sides of a story. I may not like you as a person, but if you have a lawsuit, I'm willing to hear both sides, and I use deductive reasoning. I analyze, I do whatever. It's not personal for me. I am a proponent of justice, and I believe justice is blind. Sometimes you don't like people, but they're not always right. Like I cover Nesto, who I was supposed to cover today before this lawsuit came out. So I cover Nesto, but I still believe that his rights are being violated. I don't care, like the fact that he ain't my favorite person. I would never invite him over to have tea. I mean, that's just what it is. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have a fair process as well. Same thing with this. That's just how I am. What I've learned on YouTube is that everybody does not have that level of integrity. They just don't. They do what needs to be done for clicks and views. You guys know there's been a lot of stories that I could have reported on. Some of these people I actually know. Some of these people I have represented. Some people I've represented their managers when I did entertainment. And I could have got exclusive interviews to talk about things that were trending. But I said, when I started the channel, even though it may be a slow climb, I wanted to do the legal aspects and try to stick to that. Of course, there's going to be some salaciousness. Of course, sometimes there's going to be, because you got facts, just like what we just read. There's going to be some shade. There's going to be all of that. But at the end of the day, my goal is to deal with the legal aspects. So I try my best to do that. And hopefully I'm doing okay. So yeah. So, hey, Linda. Courtney said, yes, keep it unbiased. You're classy and professional. I appreciate that, Courtney. You get hard sometimes because people sure will push you, man. Santivia said, I'm listening to Pam read documents and this extortion claim seems like a reach. And y'all ain't got to think like me. I just want you to think open-minded when it comes to these documents. She's going to have the ability to respond. Natty said, do Do you think Tasha's ex-assistant made the call? That's very interesting because it's obvious videos out here that they departed, they separated, and it wasn't the most amicable separation, I guess. So there's been videos that came out about her assistant that has a attitude with Tasha K. But you know what Discovery will do? Discovery will make you see what he did was this is going to be a question of fact because you don't know if anybody ever called. It's going to have to be phone records. Who answered the phone perhaps is going to testify to that. If there's a recording, perhaps that's going to come in. All that stuff is going to have to come out in Discovery. Or Tasha K on the flip side can say, I never had that. I never did that. I never authorized anyone to do that. Whoever called you wasn't from my camp. Like it just might have been coinky dinky that I was about to put it out. Now, from my understanding, she does call and contact the other side and say, hey, do you want to give your side of the story? I could see her doing that, like saying, hey, this story is about to come out. Do you want to give your side of the story? I could see her doing that. But like blatantly saying, if you don't give me this, if you don't give me 250K, I'm going to air this story is I don't know. It just doesn't seem believable to me. At first glance, it just doesn't. Again, I could be wrong. He can do his response or evidence could start coming out that shows that what he's saying is accurate. But again, I'm going to lean on what you did in the past. And allegedly you said you was extorted before, and that turned out not to be the truth. So yes, you guys, please make sure you hit that like button. Thank you guys, all 1,300 of you guys in here that is rocking with me. I appreciate that. So let's get to the second cause of action. We have breach of contract. Now, this is only against the assistant, Shakes. So somebody in the comment asked, well, why did he just sue the assistant? He absolutely did. And he has some counts, as I said, that are only specific to his assistant, Shakes. So it has plaintiff and Shakes are parties to the NDA, which is supported by valid consideration, including but not limited to Hart's payment of $90,000 to Shakes. Plaintiffs have performed all the terms, conditions, covenants, and promises required to be performed by them under the NDA, except those terms, conditions, covenants, and promises, if any, which Shakes prevented plaintiff from performing. So he's saying, I did what I was supposed to do, and I was supposed to pay you $30,000 a year for 3 years when we severed, and I've done that. And so you were supposed to abide by your part of the agreement. Shakes has breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations that will necessarily entail disclosure of information defined as confidential information under the NDA, including statements regarding personnel and employment matters at Heartbeat and or other Hart affiliated companies, and statements regarding Hart's interaction with its family members. As a direct and proximate result of Shakes' material breach of the NDA, plaintiffs have suffered damages, including without limitation in the principal sum of $90K that Hart paid as consideration under the NDA, in addition to further damages in an amount according to proof at trial. She's saying, I did my part. I gave you $90,000, and even though I gave you the $90,000, you didn't give me what I bargained for. I didn't get my end of the bargain because you went on Tasha K and you spilled it all as soon as you had the opportunity to. I gave you the $90,000 for you to keep your mouth shut, and you didn't do it. That's what they're saying in layman terms. So third cause of action, intentional interference with a contractual relationship. So that's against Tasha K. At the time of the interview, Kibi was aware that plaintiffs and Shakes were parties to the NDA, with Kibi specifically asking about and Shakes specifically confirming that she and plaintiff were parties to said agreement. After the interview, Kibi was further advised that plaintiff and Shakes were parties to the NDA, that the subject matter of the interview necessarily constituted confidential information as defined in the NDA, and that publication of the interview would constitute interference with the NDA. So basically, they're alleging that by Tasha airing this, you knew there was an NDA in place and you helped this lady basically breach her NDA by taking the interview, knowing that it was in place and airing it for the public to hear. So that's interference. After the interview, despite being fully aware of plaintiff's contractual relationship with Shakes under the NDA, Kibi published the interview after undertaking the independently wrongful conduct of making the extortionate threats described herein. As a direct and proximate result of Kiwi's conduct, plaintiff have suffered damages in an amount according to proof, including without limitation not less than the $90,000 Hart paid as consideration under the NDA, in addition to damages in further amounts according to proof at trial. The actions of Kiwi and intentionally interfering with plaintiff and Shake's contractual relationship under the NDA were done with oppression, fraud, and malice, with the intention of depriving plaintiff of their personal liberty, property, or legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. And such actions were despicable conduct that subjected plaintiff to unjust hardship and conscious disregard of plaintiff's rights, such that plaintiffs are entitled to recover punitive and exemplary damages in addition to all actual and statutory damages to which plaintiffs are entitled, in order to set an example to deter the conduct. So they said they want the court to make an example to let folks know you can't do this type of stuff or you might end up being sued. So that's the amount they want. Whatever amount the court deems that could set an example for all future people that decide that they want to try this. So fourth cause of action is invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts against all the defendants. So now this count is against everyone. You know what? DJ said the assistant's probably mad Kevin didn't want her. I can't. I am here for the show, said, wondering why Jada hasn't sued yet. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting, huh? Because Kevin sued real quick. It looks like the home life, based on his wife's post, it was not very happy. In the interview, defendants disclosed purported private facts regarding Hart, his family members, Heartbeat employees, and/or personnel by other Hart-affiliated companies. The interview was published on defendant Kiwi's website and thereby disclosed publicly. Some of the matters Shakes purported to disclose suggested private facts, including but not limited to statements regarding personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart-affiliated companies and interactions among Hart and his family members. The publications of such facts would be offensive and objectionable to the reasonable person. The purported private acts published during the interview are not of legitimate public concern. So, why did they mention it's not of legitimate public concern? Because California has that anti-SLAPP statute. An anti-SLAPP is not only for defamation, they're also for other allegations. As long as it's of public concern, if it's something that she can prove it's of public concern and it was disclosed because we care as the public and he's a public figure, then he could actually lose a claim based on the anti-SLAPP statute. A lot of people think it's just attached to defamation, but it's not just attached to defamation. And interestingly enough, California's is very broad. And what will happen is if Tasha K's attorney beats this claim or even the defamation claim, which is coming up next, and does it under anti-SLAPP, you can win one claim out of 10 and they still have to pay your attorney fees. So it is very risky, unless you know for certain you're going to win, to file certain lawsuits in the state of California. For example, we know Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee are beefing right now. Russell Simmons claims that Kimora Lee took $1 million or whatever and used it for her criminal husband. So he being Russell Simmons, sued Kimora over there in the state courts. I think I talked about that on another channel. I never talked about that over here. When he sued over there at the state courts, it was 35 counts. Kimora Lee filed a motion to dismiss all the counts based on the anti-SLAPP statute. Do y'all know Kimora Lee lost on all of them but one count? One count she won, and the court dismissed that one count. And you know what happened? I'm going to tell you, you don't even have to guess. Russell Simmons was ordered to pay $100,000 for that, an attorney fees for that one count that he lost. You heard me. It was over $100,000 because those California lawyers ain't playing with you. They charge over $1,000 an hour. And then that lawyer said, I did it on a discount. I didn't even charge as much as I typically charge. So he had to pay. So even though that case, from my understanding, is still going on, and they didn't dismiss all the claims, all they have to do is win one claim on anti-SLAPP, and you may have to pay their attorney fees. That's just a little tidbit there. Defendants' actions in publishing private facts regarding plaintiffs were done with oppression, fraud, malice. Okay, that's pretty much the same verbiage and language. So now we get to defamation. Let's see what he is alleging. And this is just against Shakes. So this isn't even against Tasha. This is just against the assistant that he is suing for defamation. So during the interview, Shakes made a number of statements regarding plaintiff Hart. Those statements were published on Kiwi's website. Shakes made statements during the interview that were false, including that Hart recorded a video of a sexual encounter and that he faced criminal charges regarding that supposed incident. So I'm assuming, based on the comments, that this is what he's referring to as the lawsuit I just told you about, Montia S. So I didn't watch the interview. People in the comments told me about it, but I am assuming that this is what they are talking about. So Kevin Hart, obviously the case was dismissed civilly, and I don't think there ever was criminal charges against Kevin Hart. Now she, according to the comment section, because I didn't watch the video, allegedly on Tasha's platform, basically said that Hart recorded a video of the encounter. Kevin Hart has denied it the entire time because he denied it in the lawsuit. And again, you guys saw, I showed you guys that the plaintiff, Montia, never showed up for the trial. I showed you guys the document, didn't make it up. June 22nd, 2023, she failed to appear for the trial. So it was dismissed without prejudice, meaning she can bring it back. However, clearly Kevin Hart didn't lose that lawsuit because it was dismissed and he was not found liable for anything because the case was dismissed. Shakes made statements during the interview that were false, including that Hart recorded that. Such statements were defamatory and were not privileged. Such statements had a natural tendency to injure Hart. Shakes' actions, and it has the same thing. This is what I find that is very interesting. Let me turn my camera. What I think is interesting is the only thing that they are alleging in there that was defamatory was about that lawsuit. We don't hear nothing about, from my understanding, and you guys can correct me, those that have watched it, didn't he allege that he had relationships with people and different affairs allegedly and all of that? But the only defamatory statement y'all done pulled up off the air is the one about the lawsuit and saying that he recorded. Now she can, in theory, basically say that's what she thought because that's what this Montia was alleging. Montia was alleging that it was recorded either by him or at his direction. Now, again, the case was dismissed. So in theory, she did have something to pull from, I guess, to say that that's how it happened. Nurse T said, let it go, Kevin. Interview wasn't all that except the DUI stuff. Thanks. I'm just saying, I didn't watch the interview, but from the trailer, I assumed that he was being, you guys correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I assumed there were allegations that he was being unfaithful to his wife. But that ain't what you're saying is your defamation. You're saying that it's because she said that you set up the recording on that encounter. That's what you got for defamation, Kevin. Rhonda said, my question is, did she have the video of her being recorded? So I'm going off my recollection back then. I wasn't on YouTube and I didn't pay attention to what was happening in the Hollywood world. But from what I recall, let me see. Sorry, hold on. I'm not finished with this. I don't know where this came. So from what I recall from that lawsuit, It just went around. There were clips that went around. I didn't even know there was a whole encounter. I thought it was just you knew he was with a woman or whatever. I never knew that it was an actual intimate like it went that far. I didn't know that until this lawsuit. And I was like, oh, I thought it was just he was caught with a woman in compromising positions and people were assuming and inferring things. But apparently there actually was a consensual type of relationship. She's saying she was recorded. And I believe there was information in one of the documents that I read where it looked like the camera was moving or something. So that's why they felt like he was doing it on purpose. Because it was like the cameras were moving around where she was at, like when you looked at the camera. It looked like somebody was actually manning the camera as opposed to just leaving the camera there. Yeah. So Anitra said the video was all over the internet. It was actually on the website that they put. I didn't know it was actually a whole video until after I read the lawsuit. Okay. So you said Kevin's friend did it or was paid to say he did it. Well, Kevin's friend was exonerated for that because Kevin Hart did blame his friend. And from my understanding, from a criminal aspect, he was exonerated. And then also from a civil aspect, he was dismissed out the case before it even made it to trial because there was no way for them to prove that he had done it. You can make all the allegations in the world. It's not what you allege, it's what you can prove. That's why I tell you guys when I start reading these documents, these are all allegations. Yes, they did file them with the court, and you would presume any lawyer that signs their name, they're making everything based on their information and belief and what they believe to be true. Because you're not going to risk your darn license for no client because you got 100 more clients you're going to have in that same year. But they're still allegations until they're proven. DJ said, Anika not going anywhere. She loves being seen with her man. If she leaves, she will be forgotten. Well, goodness, DJ. Elite Leo said the video was leaked and yes, they were engaged in the act. Oh, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that from the lawsuit now, but thank you so much. I didn't know that at first. He has all kinds of moral clauses in his contracts, yet he always cheats on his wife. Well, I don't know what's up with why he and his former wife broke up. You know, that's how far removed I am from Kevin Hart. So I know she's a comedian as well, but I'm so far removed from that. I don't know. I'll take y'all word for it though. So you said Kevin just have stayed in the cheap seat. You know what? Speak less. Speak less that Pam demonstrates a non-biased opinion and reads the court filings as they appear. Please hit the like button to show her your appreciation for all your hard work she puts in. Thank you. You hear what she said? Speak less. She's speaking a lot there, even though her name is Speak Less. She's speaking more. You guys make sure you hit the like button and show your appreciation. I appreciate that. Coco JB said adultery. Sully Sue said he paid their medical bills. Elite Leo said he was cheating on his ex-wife too. Well, that's allegedly, but there you have it. Okay, let's get through this. I know we on here just taking our little sweet time with this document. So now we're in the prayer for relief. As to the first cause of action, which is extortion, Kevin Hart is asking for general damages according to proof in excess of the jurisdictional minimum for this court. So he wants more than $25,000 in general damages, for compensatory damages according to proof, and for punitive damages as allowed by law. So he wants them to be punished, all these defendants, for their actions. The second cause of action is breach of contract for compensatory damages according to proof, but in an amount not less than $90,000. So for the breach of contract, he said he at least gets his $90K back because you shouldn't have been talking because I fulfilled my end of the bargain. I'm gonna need you to fulfill yours. And for attorney fees and costs because that was also a part of their agreement. Third cause of action for intentional interference with contractual relations, and I believe that was against Tasha K, for compensatory damages according to proof, but in an amount not less than $90,000. And for punitive damages. So he wants to be an amount for punishment as well. Invasion of privacy, compensatory damages according to proof in excess of the jurisdictional minimum, and punitive damages as well. For the defamation, and that's just against his former personal assistant Shakes. That's for compensatory damages according to proof in excess of the jurisdictional minimum for the court, and for punitive damages on all causes of action for prejudgment interest as allowed by law for costs of suit herein incurred, and for such other relief that this court deems proper. So this is the actual confidentiality agreement. It was signed on August 8th, 2017. We're not going to go over all these little bitty words, but I do want you guys to see that. This is the confidentiality agreement, and it is signed by her. Then there's also the mutual release agreement this is upon her departure. And this is also a big NDA in here. So there were things that she should not have been disclosing. And then we have this is the cease and desist. So let's read the cease and desist that went to Miss Keeby. This office represents Kevin Hart. I am writing regarding your recent and ongoing violations of civil and criminal law, and to demand that you immediately cease and desist all such activity. You have already engaged in criminal conduct and torturous acts that would entitle Mr. Hart to monetary damages against you should he elect to commence civil litigation regarding this matter. To the extent that you do not cease and desist now, your liability for such monetary damages will increase, as will your exposure to criminal penalties. As you are no doubt aware, recently, someone on Mr. Hart's team was contacted by an unknown individual. See, that's what's getting me. This unknown individual, just some random person, who indicated that he was affiliated with you and or your blogs. This individual, working at your discretion, stated that you would publish a story on social media, the story that you contend would be damaging to Mr. Hart's reputation unless Mr. Hart pays $250K. This, of course, constitutes extortion under Penal Code Section 518 and gives rise to both criminal and civil liability against you and anyone involved in your efforts to extort Mr. Hart. California's extortion law prohibits any attempt to obtain consideration from another through the wrongful use of force or fear. Your efforts to extract payment from Mr. Hart by threatening exposure of information supposedly harmful to him is a textbook example. We have thus contacted the police and will be following up with law enforcement as we deem appropriate. We understand the story to be an interview with Mr. Hart's former assistant, Maisha Shakes, that supposedly includes scandalous assertions against him. We note that Ms. Shakes has a documented history with law enforcement and matters involving other high-profile individuals. So they saying she done this before. In advance of your threatened publication of the story, you posted a quote teaser with Ms. Shakes on YouTube, which clearly was intended as a threat, sending a message to Mr. Hart's team that the more detailed story would not be published if and only if the ransom is paid. I know she didn't say ransom. Like, I know that has to be the words of Kevin Hart. Because I know even if this even happened, let's just assume that there was some threat about give me money or I'm going to post it. Who says ransom? Who just uses ransom? Your statement at approximately the 2-minute and 6-second mark of the teaser video that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary is particularly damning and leaves no ambiguity that criminal extortion was your intent. In addition to liability arising from such criminal conducts, the threatening activity would constitute a violation of a non-disclosure agreement between Mr. Hart and Ms. Shakes. That certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 22nd of 2020 between those individuals. While we do not presently know the specifics of the story or of Ms. Shakes' assertions, the subject matter of the story to which the YouTube teaser alludes will necessarily derive from information Ms. Shakes gained while in Mr. Hart's employ and thus fall squarely within the NDA's definition of confidential information. Any such disclosures from Ms. Shakes in connection with the story, therefore, constitutes a clear violation of the NDA's terms. To the extent that you were to facilitate such a breach of the NDA by publishing the story, you would be subject to civil liability for intentional interference with contractual relations, as well as aiding and abetting Ms. Shake's torturous conduct against Mr. Hart, in addition to direct liability resulting from your own torturous conduct. And there's more. We are aware of the fact that you have an established history of posting defamatory and otherwise improper content regarding celebrities and other high-profile individuals. For instance, most recently, you were found liable for civil damages exceeding $3 million. You think she needed a reminder of that, sir? Sir or ma'am? You think she didn't know that? By the musician Cardi B. You and your accomplices' actions with respect to Mr. Hart are more of the same. In addition to being flatly criminal, as set forth above, your adjudicated history of such misconduct is further evidence of your intent in this case, leaving no doubt as to your liability here. So you're basically saying because of her past, this is her MO. But you do have to know, like, typically other acts are inadmissible in court. If she gets a lawyer, I'm pretty sure that lawyer is going to do a motion in limine or something to try to prevent that from coming in. But I get what you're saying, lawyer. We also are aware that you have recently filed for bankruptcy protection. Lord have mercy. That is true. Therefore, she can't be sued right now. All her attorney really does have to do is file a letter, because that's what happened in the R. Kelly case. Her attorney filed a letter and said she was in chapter whatever her bank, I think it's chapter 11, bankruptcy. So therefore, they can't file, like, you can't do anything against her right now while she's still in bankruptcy. And that was filed on the website with the R. Kelly case, who also sued Tasha K. So they said, we are aware that you recently filed bankruptcy. You should be advised that under Bankruptcy Code Section 523, debt incurred as a result of a debtor's willful malicious injury to a creditor, here Mr. Hart, is not subject to discharge. She knows that because that's what happened with Cardi B. So it's interesting. Sorry, guys, my phone stopped ringing. You will thus not be able to evade any liability for monetary damages to Mr. Hart that you incur as a result of the misconduct described herein, which would not constitute dischargeable pre-petition debt in any event. What? In light of the foregoing issues, we demand that you immediately cease and desist all activity and public statements relating to the story and refrain from any publication. Then it gives them their contact information. We note that the foregoing is not an exhaustive recitation of applicable facts and law relevant to this matter, and none of the above constitutes a waiver of any of Mr. Hart's rights to remedies with respect thereto. So that is that. That is the end of the lawsuits. Yeah, that's the last of it. That's the end of the lawsuit. Let me see if you guys have any questions and see where you guys are. So based on the information you guys have already, who is it looking good for, Kevin Hart or Tasha K? Now, we don't have Tasha K's response yet, so we don't know. But as it sits today, do you think Kevin Hart has a strong case right now based on what we know about his prior case? Based on what he's alleging is defamation and what he is alleging is the interference. Where we headed at right now before we get up off of here? You said now I need to go watch the Hart show from Tasha K. See, now it's bringing Tasha K more subscribers and more viewers. You said no. Kevin's okay. Wait a minute. You said Tasha about I'm not a killer, but don't push me. Said even if he was a strong case, TK still ain't got it. She ain't got it. That's what she said. You said everybody saying she is going to respond with I ain't got it. You know what? We're not doing this. We're not doing this with you guys. I need you guys to hit the like on your way out. We got 900 likes. If we could get to 1,000, that would be so nice of you guys. Some of you guys know you about to use my little my content when you guys go live. So at least just hit the like if you don't want to do anything else. While I was reading, I see quite what is this? Cutie TV. Thank you for the $20 super chat. I appreciate it. And welcome, new subscriber. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, baby doll. She also sent a super chat. I pray God's blessing on you and your family. I received that. Thank you so much for your support. And thank you, Simply Elegant. I know you were a member before, so you probably just renewed, but thank you so much for renewing because you don't have to do that every month. And I do have some cash apps as well. You guys were looking out for your girl. Gonna have a good little new year. You said drinks on the intellects. You said his gripe is with his former assistant. Everybody, Karen D says she ain't got it. So you guys aren't moved by this, huh? Thank you so much, KJ. I appreciate that. That is Uno number 1. Thank you on YouTube. Thank you guys for letting me know who you are on YouTube. I got something from Symmetry. Thank you so much. You said grab a bag of Better Made in Fago. You must be from the D or you know all about Detroit. I appreciate that. Shelby said Shelby, thank you so much for the $25 cash app. You said for the great video tonight. Thank you. I hope you guys got a wealth of information out of it and you guys are able to pursue this with an open mind. You know, when it comes to the legal part, I know some people are going to be salacious about it and they have their own personal feelings as it pertains to Tasha K and Kevin Hart. There are some people can't stand Kevin Hart either. He ain't the most, prized person in Hollywood. So there's going to be people that don't really care for him either. So either side, but we try to be unbiased over here. And right now, for me, that extortion claim is looking a little iffy for me unless there's some receipts. The defamation part, I already told you guys my initial reaction is still the same. He does say that there may be other defamatory statements, but I think him just bringing up that one says a lot for me. Because why didn't you say, I didn't cheat on my wife, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, but to bring up that one, because he does have where he can say I was sued and I pretty much the case was dismissed. He can't say he won, but I guess it is a win, in theory, because he didn't lose it. So yeah, I'm not that pump, Kevin. I'm not that pump. I think personally, this is just my opinion. I think it was trouble in paradise, and you had to do something to try to show that. But to come back and say you broke an NDA, because that's really his major claim is breaking an NDA. I do believe there was a breach, so she is going to have to account for that. She probably have to pay the $90,000 back. But I think adding Tasha K. Though was just you wanted to add her because it was her platform. But your main issue, I agree with the intellect, sounds like it's really with the assistant who decided to basically risk it all. She says she feels like it's loopholes. So now once she gets served, she can just show us what she feels those loopholes are within the contract. And did you consult an attorney who told you there were loopholes? Or is that something you just came up with? Because everybody watched Law and Order and Matlock. So they all think that they lawyers. So is that something that a lawyer told you, or is that really something that you came up with? Just asking. Yeah, go ahead and hit that like. Thank you. You said Karen D said Cat Williams has publicly stated Kevin doesn't write his own jokes. Well, it's not funny anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I liked his jokes when he talked about his father on those earlier stand-up comedic shows that he had. But other than that, he's not the funniest to me. That's just my opinion. I think Cat Williams is hilarious. I think he is one of the most funniest people, and he's not out here like that. But I don't think he's that funny. I don't think Tiffany Haddish is that funny, but that's just me. My sense of humor takes a lot, I guess, to make me crack up. Well, if you can read law and comprehend, you have a good chance as lawyer or not. I don't know what that means. Big Ego said he's not funny at all. Y'all get it? That was so corny. It was funny. Okay, I like that Big Ego 53. I'm feeling you on that. That was good. That was good. I had to sit there for a minute and soak that in. So Shelby said, I'm probably in the minority here, but Kevin cracks me up. That's okay. You don't have to be in the minority. He may, a lot of people might think that he's funny. I'm just not one of those, a lot of people. Yeah, I think, but Kevin Hart, Cat Williams just has had so many other issues that I think it just overshadowed his talent. It's just my opinion. Oh no, thank you again for the cash app. I appreciate that. And thank you. You were on here all the time. I thank you for your support. It does not go unnoticed. Miss Helena said Cat is the GOAT. See, Thessie said Kevin cracks her. Thessie, I don't know if male or female, but Kevin cracks me up too. So you guys have company. And she's just not funny to me. Thank you, KK Bonita. Thank you so much. And you guys know the Pammy Pam. So you guys, I want you guys to make sure either tomorrow or Friday, look out, because I do want to do a video on Ernest Williams' co-conspirator Erica King, because we really didn't talk about her at all, but I wanted to go over her arrest warrant as well. So make sure you guys come back over here, and so we can go into that. Look out for that in the next 2 days, because that's what I was supposed to go over tonight, but then this lawsuit dropped, so I decided to go in on this. So yeah. Colorado said, what's the next steps after this? So what will happen, Kalanda Underwood, what will happen is they being all the defendants have to be served. So a summons is issued, they have to be served. The plaintiff has to file with the court to show that they've been served this lawsuit, because Tasha K has probably seen this lawsuit on all the people that have decided to talk about it. So she's seen it, but you have to be formally served. So once they're served, they have a certain amount of time to respond. And they respond. Tasha's people, because she is in bankruptcy, they probably will respond unless she's out of bankruptcy by then, because I believe she has like hearings in January, where she probably will let them know that she is in bankruptcy and you can't sue me. Kiwi Studios, from my understanding, no longer exist. Now, I could be wrong. Tasha, you could correct me, but I thought they no longer existed. So I don't know who they think they're going to serve for that one. As far as the same thing with Shake, she has to be served, and then she has to get a lawyer or even represent herself and respond to it. You could respond with an answer to the complaint, responding line by line, or you can respond because there is a defamation lawsuit. A defamation claim and privacy claim. She may respond with a dismissal for those claims under anti-SLAPP, or she can file dismissals under other rules and say, you failed to state a claim or whatever that she's saying. So you can either respond, your initial response can either be an answer or you trying to dismiss the case. If the court does not dismiss it, say for instance, she responds with a motion to dismiss the case, and the court says, no, I think there's enough questions of fact for the jury to decide, and I don't want to decide this on the bench, then they would have to respond with an answer. And if they respond with an answer, then you go through the whole litigation process. There'll be documents filed, motions filed, and we'll go over that, all of that over here if it gets that far. But, yeah. Thank you, Miss Helena, for the cash super chat. I need to go eat. I haven't eaten today. Mel Stewart, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. We got to over 1,300 today in the chat, and it's all because of you guys liking and sharing and getting your girl in the algorithm. And I just appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope you guys have a fantabulous New Year's, but I do plan on coming on before then. But anyway, let's see if there's any more questions before I get up out of here. Did Sonia contact me? Will you give her advice? She has not contacted me. If she wanted to contact me, she could. I don't know what you mean by advice, but no, if she contacted me, she could. So Kim said, I think Kevin Hart's attorney probably just pulled info regarding TK's businesses from the Cardi B docs. That could be it, Kim. That could be it. And they didn't even mention, like, well, the R. Kelly case is a little bit different than here. It's not really the same type allegation. So you said, so the lawsuit was filed today. What is today's date? The 27th? No, the lawsuit was actually filed. I want to say it was filed the 26th. So the day after Christmas. Yep, December 26th. They did it at 9:18 p.m. is when it was electronically filed. So they did it like a thief in the night. They filed it the next day after Christmas. You're welcome, Chi Chi. Thank you so much. Beautiful said, have you addressed the Jake's issue? I have not, Beautiful. I have not addressed the Jake's issue. In due time, I may, but as it sits today, I want to kind of stick to what you guys expect of me, which is lawsuits being filed, police reports being filed, body cams, dash cams, complaints, something. And I think right now it's a lot of conjecture and innuendo, and everything is hearsay or hearsay within hearsay. And that's not what I'm trying to do. Now, I have given my opinion regarding part of the matter, not the legal part, maybe on other platforms if people ask me, but for the most part, I have not. Now, I am privy to a lot of stuff. And if it gets to a point where it becomes a legal matter or a civil matter or something of that nature, you know, your girl got you. I got you. I got you. But right now, that's not what I do. Even though I know I could have got a lot of numbers. Could have got a lot of numbers if I would have did TD Jakes, but that's not what I'm about. I want to make sure that I keep my platform the way that it is. So hopefully you respect that. And if that changes, then I will definitely be talking about it. So that's it. And you said I have 3 to 4 hour R. Kelly prison calls on my channel. Oh my goodness, really? Nitwit said, did Shirley stop paying for Nestle's legal fees? Yes, she did. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about, because, you know, towards the end, I may do a jail call or something. Yep, it sounds like Shirley said that she's not about to be paying for him. And she made that decision back in February before we even knew about the jail calls. And then from my understanding, she totally told Nestle she didn't want to be bothered with him around July. So prior to us really these phone calls being released, she had already cut ties with him, like she said on the Steve Harvey Morning Show when she did her own Strawberry Letter. You said forever said, I am here for the gossip, but I love the integrity you bring to the game. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you so much, Shelby. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. Gwen said, how long does it normally take for an indictment to come after being arrested? Well, in Fulton County, who knows? That's all I got. In Fulton County, who knows? There are some people that are in jail right now in Fulton County that have way more years on Nesto, from my understanding. And they're unindicted. So you said not talking about TD is the right call. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a fabulous night. Thank you again for rocking with your girl. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. If anything comes out, any more cases, or even if Tasha K responds or whatever, maybe we'll be right back here to do it again. But until then, I want you guys to have a fabulous night. Again, thanks to all of the super chats, all of the Cash Apps, super stickers. I appreciate you guys supporting the platform. And I'll talk to you next time.